Sickle cell still plaguing your mind? Still having a bit of trouble overcoming it mentally? Let's see how we can fix that right now, right here, today. So with all that is going on, with all the comic book movies that we see now, Avengers 1, 2, 3, Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, all of these guys, I think it's pretty safe to say that we have all grown up on comic books. If not comic books, we've grown up on the animated series like Spider-Man and X-Men and all these other comics. Okay? And especially now, if you didn't know anything about comics before the movies, I'm pretty sure you know now. So, why am I using superheroes as an illustration to overcome sickle cell mentally? Well, if you notice the traits that each hero has, 3 in particular I'm going to mention, you will see the correlation and how you could use them as a visual representation on how you should be mentally when it comes to sickle cell anemia. The first hero that I'm going to use is Batman. Now, everyone knows, or it could be debated, but I think that Batman is the most highly respected hero in the DC universe. Batman doesn't have any powers. But Batman garners the respect not only of his villains and his enemies, but he garners the respect of his peers like Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and all the likes. Why? Because Batman is very resourceful. The fact that he has no powers, he has to be resourceful. He has to be knowledgeable, skillful. He has to have combat skills. And of course, we can't leave out the money. Okay? Batman is said to be the world's greatest detective because Batman picks up on things that the average person would not. Right? Now, one thing about Batman that you can use to help with your overcoming sickle cell mentally is notice Batman, he studies his opponents. He studies and he researches everybody, whether he considers them an enemy or maybe a possible threat in the future. He studies their weakness. He knows what makes them tick. He knows what makes them smile. He knows what they like, what they dislike. He knows how their powers operate. If you meet Batman as an enemy of Batman, 9 times out of 10, you can mop the floor with Batman. No question about it. But I promise you, if you meet him a second time, it's a less than 1% chance you might even land a punch on Batman, because after he is recovered from the beating you have given him, he's going to go and do his homework and his research on how to be the victim in round 2. And so, with you, of course, sickle cell can creep up on you periodically. You fall into a crisis, you end up in the hospital, you don't know how you got there, you feel down, you feel out of it, you feel depleted. Do not let that stop you. Do not let that deter you. Do not let that put you in a state of depression. All right? What you should do now is, once you've recovered and you're back to 100%, research on what triggered it the first time and research on how you could prevent it in the future. There was a scene where all of the Justice League members went rogue, and Batman was the only one that could have stopped them and dismantled each and every last one of them, because he knew how to dismantle each and every last one of them. And of course, when the Justice League came to their senses, they were highly upset because he knew how to dismantle each and every last one of them. And of course, being the Batman that he is, he was highly unapologetic and actually said, "You gotta be joking. If you think I'm gonna be up here with y'all by myself, I don't know how to dismantle you."
The plans were mine.
Yours? Say what now?
I've carefully studied every Justice Leaguer, past and present, and created contingency plans to neutralize you, should that ever become necessary.
You've got to be kidding me.
Neutralize, not kill. Whoever implemented my plans altered them.
It's still a completely unacceptable breach of our trust.
The members of the Justice League are among the most powerful and potentially dangerous people on the planet.
You think one of us would go over to the other side?
Or succumb to mind control. Yes, it's possible. That's why I developed plans for containing any or all members of the JLA, should the need ever arise.
None of us would ever do that to you.
Then you're damn fools.
This is Batman. Security level Omega. Password Delta Charlie 27-5-1939. Enable new protocol. Title Agamemno Contingency. Should any of the core members of the League turn rogue, we need to have plans in place to handle each and every one of us should we become a threat. The members of the League are my teammates, but we need to be prepared for the worst. Always. Agamemno Contingency, file codename Last Son. If Superman ever becomes a threat to the planet, the following protocols will need to be enacted to ensure our survival. The sample of green kryptonite in Vault 7B, provided by Superman himself, will incapacitate him with brief exposure, and prolonged exposure would, in all probability, be fatal. Portions of this kryptonite, under exposure to radiation, created a variation of kryptonite that is red in color. Side effects of this type of kryptonite are unknown. Further testing is required. Agamemno Contingency, file codename Red Sands. Jean Johns, the manhunter from Mars, is the heart and soul of the Justice League. However, his strength and speed make him a formidable opponent should he ever turn against us. His vulnerability to fire would be hard to exploit in a defensive position. However, research suggests that a nanite virus spiked with magnesium would cause his skin to combust in contact with the air, neutralizing him as a threat. Must investigate further. Agamemno Contingency, file codename 2814. The ring of a Green Lantern is the most powerful weapon in the universe, limited only by the imagination of the bearer. The ring cannot be separated from the wielder except in the event of their death, and the ring's natural defenses prevent direct attack. But in order to use the ring, the core member needs to be able to see what they are doing. While an attack on the eyes would be ill-advised due to the defenses of the ring, see Table 38B for full offensive lists and their attendant probabilities of success. Research indicates that a post-hypnotic suggestion could be planted into the Green Lantern's psyche, causing them to believe themselves blind. The ring would then make them blind, enforced by their own willpower. Must test out this theory on Guy Gardner.
So, Batman, having no powers, is one of the most dangerous comic book heroes there is because of his resourcefulness, because of his mental thinking. Okay, of course, Batman has come from a traumatic past, so he's kind of probably a little demented, But I say that to say, given his traumatic experience, he didn't let that deter him. He actually used his traumatic experience and made it into a weapon. Batman. He made himself into a weapon. So do just that with yourself. Make yourself into a weapon to the point where you know every and anything about sickle cell. Why do they even call it sickle cell? What does sickle cell target? How do you get rid of it? How do you prevent it? Everything there is to know about sickle cell, you should be able to know. The X-Men. Now, the thing about the X-Men is that they're all mutants. And I'm pretty sure, if not all, most of them have felt rejected and outcast by society. Right? They felt they don't belong. Society looks at them as weird, peculiar. Some society don't feel safe around them. They were rejected out of their homes. And so Professor X created this school, this community for mutants to feel like they belong. They're around people who just like them and that can relate to them and what they're going through, what they're thinking. Like I tell everyone who are close to me, I appreciate your care and concern for me. I appreciate your love that you hold for me, but you will never understand or empathize with what I'm going through or what I went through because you've never experienced it for yourself. No one in this world can experience or can know what a person that was diagnosed with sickle cell is going through unless they speak to another person that had the same diagnosis. You don't understand what it's like to have pain pulsating all throughout your body. You don't know what it's like to be well 1 minute and you on the hospital bed crying the next. You don't know what that's like. So in a lot of cases, I may not be able to relate to you and vice versa. And so with the X-Men, take Rogue, for example. If you look in the movie, I think the very first X-Men they produced, Rogue was actually rejected and kicked out of her house. You know, she discovered her powers. Her family looked at her like she was weird, like she was a plague. They didn't know how to operate. They didn't know what to do. They kicked her out. She felt rejected. She felt like an outcast. Okay, and so now she came to this community of other mutants that were also rejected. So now you have this community that helps you, so you don't feel like the oddball anymore. You don't feel like the outcast anymore. You don't feel like something is wrong with you anymore because you're now surrounded by all these other people that have went through and experienced the very same thing that you did. Another thing about Rose is Rose can't, sorry, not Rose, Rogue, sorry. Rogue can't have physical contact, skin to skin. Otherwise, she hurts the person. Now, what she did was she just added gloves. To touch the person, she just put on gloves. So that correlates, that kind of connects to what I was saying in the first video, how to overcome sickle cell mentally, is you find provisions. You see how your body operates. Don't think of yourself as a plague. Don't think of yourself as something is wrong with you. Just think of yourself as different. That's all it is. And you find ways and provisions to make up for what's going on with your body. You know, like I mentioned before, one of the things that keeps sickle cell at bay is drinking lots of water. So find yourself carrying a gallon of water with you or some type of jug, you know, and surround yourself with people, not only just people that are dealing with sickle cell, but like-minded individuals. And what I mean by that is this. You can find people that were diagnosed with sickle cell, but they are defeated, but they're suicidal, but they have given up on life. They're pessimistic. That's not what you need to be around. So it's good to find people that are dealing with sickle cell the way you have been, but it's also even better to find people that have the mentality, like something of a Batman mentality or an overcomer mentality, someone who believes and who knows with all their heart that they're going to beat this illness and they're going to fight this illness and they're going to prove and show everyone and themselves that they're going to win. Superman. Now, Superman is known to be a god. Superman is known to be the most powerful force in the DC universe. Now, for all you comic book gurus and fanatics, I am not a guru, so please do not crucify me for what I just said. I don't know if Superman is the most powerful. That's what I was told. I don't know. Okay? So please do not crucify me. So, he is said to be the most powerful force in the universe. However, Superman has one weakness: kryptonite. This weakness can turn a person that is bulletproof and draw blood. This kryptonite is so deadly to Superman, it can actually kill him. He's a man of speed. He's faster than a locomotive, like they said, faster than a speeding bullet. He has laser beams coming out of his eyes. He can fly, got X-ray vision. He super strength, all these things. But he has one weakness that can bring him down to his Yes. Now I say all that to say this. You yourself are also a God, a mini God. Small g, lowercase g. You're not the God, you're not God, of course, in the heavens, but you are also considered a lowercase g God. You are way more power than you realize. You have way more power than you realize. Now, you possibly have one weakness, which is sickle cell. But if you notice with Superman, what Superman does is he avoids that kryptonite. And the minute that kryptonite is away from him, he garners his power back again. And he goes right back to being Superman, to being the most greatest force, most powerful force in the universe. Don't let these things deter you, like sickle cell anemia and crisis. Don't let these things deter you from who you are, who you really are. Don't let these things deter you from continuing to conquer sickle cell and conquer the world in your everyday life. Be like Batman. Be like the X-Men. Be like Superman. Now, I hope all of that made sense. That was just a thought that came to my mind. I thought to share it with you all. It sounded better in my head. I hope it sounds just as good to you guys as it did to me. Hopefully it works. Maybe it doesn't. Let me know. Until next time.